Ladies and gentlemen, if we could ask you to please take your seats, and we will begin our program in 2 minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 minute away from the start of our show. 1 minute. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm your host for tonight, Tom Ackerman of KMOX Radio and St. Louis University Basketball. And it is a pleasure to have you here tonight at the USBWA College Basketball Awards. Let's hear it for everybody who put this together and brought it back to St. Louis. It's a big night of sports in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals are playing at Busch Stadium. The Blues are at Enterprise Center. And Magic Johnson is in the house at the Missouri Athletic Club. I'd like to introduce at this time the Executive Director of the USBWA. Please welcome Malcolm Moran.
Thanks, Tom, and thanks to all of you for hosting and joining us tonight at the Missouri Athletic Club for our annual celebration of the best of the game. The 2025-26 college basketball season was the 70th since the creation of the United States Basketball Writers Association, the 39th in which we have named a National Women's Player of the Year, and the 50th season of the women's poll created by the great Mel Greenberg, who has led our recognition of the women's game. On behalf of the more than 700 women and men of the USBWA, we are grateful to be back in a place that has become home for us at the end of every season. During our recent celebrations at the Final Fours in Phoenix and Indianapolis, we enshrined our first class in what is now known as the USBWA Joe Mitch Hall of Fame, named to honor the longtime executive director who introduced the idea of having an annual event right here in his hometown of St. Louis. To Tyon Grant Foster of Gonzaga University, We are sorry to learn of the family funeral that prevents you from being here with us, and we salute you for winning the Perry Wallace Most Courageous Award. To Jazzy Davidson. Jazzy, where are you? Thank you for joining us at such a busy time of the academic year at the end of a long season. When you were named winner of the Tamika Catchings Award as National Freshman Player of the Year, 2 years after your teammate Juju Watkins was selected, it marked the 4th time in 35 years that one school has had multiple winners in 3 or fewer seasons. The other winners, are you ready? Odyssey Sims and Brittany Griner of Baylor, Maya Moore and Tina Charles of UConn, and Shamiqua Holdsclaw and Tamika Catchings of Tennessee. So 1 year into your college career, you are already in very good company, and so are they. Thanks so much for joining us. To Dusty May, we are grateful that you are spending this time with us with all the craziness going on out there where the portal will define next season. We understand that there are only so many Yaxels out there and much too little time to find them. We also understand that there were several coaches who received similar honors this year, but only one of them stood on a victory stand a week ago tonight in Indianapolis. And so for that, our congratulations, and thank you for making us look so smart. And as we honor the latest winner of our Dean Smith Award, our thoughts are also with last year's winner, Dick Vitale, who announced this afternoon that he will start immunotherapy treatment shortly after receiving results of a biopsy. He has impacted lives through his tireless efforts to raise more than $100 million for pediatric cancer research, and with images of his own treatment from hospital beds and a message that tells all of us, you can do this. So now it's our turn to remind Dick that he has been right. He can do this, and all of us are grateful for his presence a year ago, and with him in the hope that the news to come is all good. The winner of this year's Dean Smith Award presents our event with a unique twist, a national champion Michigan State Spartan and a newly minted national champion Michigan Wolverine sharing the same program. What could go wrong? When Irvin Johnson was still a teenager, he was praised for his vision and awareness. Tonight, we honor him for a very different vision and awareness. He taught us the difference between magic and Irvin, the athlete, performer, and the person behind it all. And on November 7th, 1991, when he abruptly announced his retirement from the Los Angeles Lakers, we worried about magic, but we grieved for Irvin because we knew so little about the HIV virus and its impact. Much of what we all would learn would be because of him. We also didn't know that the end of his athletic career would lead to the enormous impact of a career in business built in large part to serve others. For that, we are honored to host him here tonight in the spirit of the influence Dean Smith's life had on so many others. And please welcome outstanding, outgoing USBWA President Matt Norlander of CBS Sports for a brief discussion of the Dean Smith Award.
Check. All right.
Yes.
Good evening. Wow, big room. Big room. Good evening, everyone.
So there were two coaches, all the times I did this in my previous life, that I just felt bizarre and strange, calling them by their first name. And one of them was Dean Smith, who encouraged me to make me feel better. That was an era where reporters learned a lot from coaches, and he taught me things like, if you're going to be critical of someone, you criticize the act, not the person. And just his history, he was outspoken against the Vietnam War. He desegregated a restaurant in Chapel Hill. Like all these things that contributed to that community and the larger college basketball community that had nothing to do with passing Adolph Rupp. And it was the idea of the late John Feinstein, a proud Duke graduate, advocating strongly for an award for North Carolina's greatest ever coach, that made this award happen. And it's become such a source of pride for us when we think about the people that have been honored: George Raveling, John Thompson, Tom Izzo, Bob McKillop, Don Donaher. I mean, just an enormous collection of individuals.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, every single award that we vote on as a board, you know, throughout the course of a season, I mean, we get on these calls, we make very hard decisions, none of it's taken lightly, but the Dean Smith one, as much if not more than quite literally any other, because of what it represents and what Dean Smith represented, and I think just important, you know, as the years go on, there are certain people across sport whose presence in their given sport even transcends, like Dean Smith transcends college basketball, and on behalf of the USBWA, just to keep that memory alive because of what he represented, who he actually was. I mean, he really is, he's obviously known as one of the greatest coaches of all time, but his impact, what he believed in when it came to equality for all of human rights, when it came to you know, eliminating segregation at a time when it was not popular to do so, and he was a young, unproven coach when he did it. But you know, there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. He really did represent that as much as quite literally anyone who's ever you know, had the distinction and the honor of the title of head coach in college basketball. So when it came for, you know, Irvin to be discussed for this award, I mean, everything that he represents and what he how big of a figure he has been in American culture, not just sports culture, but American culture. You know, it was a lovely discussion to have when we had it, and we were all too happy and eager to bestow this honor upon him, because when we get up here and talk with him in just a minute, I see faces in the room. I was all of 10 on that day in 1991, but I think some people in here just probably, some people do know and remember, and you can speak to it eloquently, Malcolm, when Magic had to reveal his diagnosis, like it was like global news at a time when, you know, you can bring up your phone and headlines just pop in and out in video form, whatever form, you get push alerts on your phone. Obviously a very, very different environment all those years ago when it came to media consumption, but it's hard to bring about a parallel in today's day and age that would even compare to the enormity, the weight that was attached to that, and just to see what Magic has done with his life over the past 3+ decades since then, and really become such a powerful symbol of hope, optimism, happiness. Like, he's as enjoyable of an athlete, of a person in American sports that I can think of, and we are all too thrilled to be able to talk with him tonight.
And I'm old enough to be able to say that I was in Salt Lake City when the Spartans won the national championship, and
wow, you were like 6, right?
A 15,000 seat
How'd you get in the building?
Campus facility.
Yeah.
I know. Well, we have a video that can show us the remarkable journey of Irvin Johnson.
Are the world magic.
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 And it was all about magic this, magic that.
Now he's doing no-look passes with real estate funds and franchises.
If you don't make a difference in the black community, that doesn't matter that you win a championship.
I took the skill sets that I applied on the basketball court, and I apply them each and every day in business.
It's not whether you can become successful, it's how many people can you help become successful.
The incredible effort by an NBA legend to help small businesses in need during this pandemic.
If you don't dream it, you can't become it.
International 2024 champions, Team Liquid!
The LA Sparks, they are your WNBA champions! CMLS! Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
I don't invest in sports teams for ego. I invest to win.
Are you ready to do this?
Irvin Magic Johnson. He already owns parts of 4 professional sports teams. Now make it 5. He's officially joining the ownership group of the Washington Spirit.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Irvin Magic Johnson.
Magic was a guy who dribbled the ball and did his thing, but Irvin Johnson is the guy who's making the impact and really leaving the legacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the USBWA and all of its members, I'm very proud to welcome the 2026 winner of the Dean Smith Award, Irvin Johnson.
Oh, man. They wasn't clapping for me the last time I was in St. Louis. When your Cardinals beat my Dodgers in the playoff. And so, but God is so good to get this award. Thanks to Missouri Athletic Club, all the board and the people who voted for me and allowed me to be here. And because of Dean Smith, that's why I'm here, right? He recruited me out of high school and got a chance to really get to know him, but also, too, his work, not only on the basketball court, but also in helping young men reach their goals and dreams, but also the work that he did off the court. And so that's what really was amazing to me as well. So God bless everybody. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
I would guess that for Carolina fans of a certain age, the notion of Phil Ford passing the baton to you would have been a very attractive thing.
Yeah, well, you know, we all admired Phil Ford. I was a fan, and when I was able to meet Phil, it was such a thrill for a young man who had watched him on TV. And so, but at the same time, Michigan and Michigan State were really powerhouses. Well, I take that back. Michigan was the powerhouse. They had just played Indiana. Remember, that was the last time 2 teams in the same conference played for the national championship when Bobby Knight won again. And so I was being recruited at home. My mother is a Seventh-day Adventist, so she worships until the evening on Saturdays. And so Michigan played all their games at 2 o'clock. So I couldn't go there because I wanted my mother to see me play. Michigan State played at 8 o'clock. And
now, did Judd change the starting time?
Oh, yeah. And so when my good friend Jay Vincent committed to Michigan State, I thought, I put myself in the lineup and said, oh, we got a chance to win, because Greg Kelser was already there. And Terry Donnelly, the local kid, he was there, and I said, oh, Terry can shoot. Greg is a great athlete. Jay and I now come and, supply some more offense as well as defense. And sure enough, it was the right choice for me to make. And what was funny was, we win the Big Ten my freshman year. Kansas City Kings came calling and wanted to draft me number 1. And my father and I flew down to Kansas City to meet with Joel Ackerson, I think that was his name, general manager. And he said, $200,000 for 6 years. And I grew up broke, so I'm like, oh. I start smiling, good, yeah. My dad said, time out, grabbed me by my collar and pulled me out of the room and said, son, you've been broke for 18 years, you can be broke 1 more year. You're going back to school. And true story. And so it was the blessing of my life. My father was right, because we won the national championship that year, and mentally and physically I wasn't ready to turn pro. And I'm so happy that he really made that decision. And so Judd was an unbelievable coach. He pushed me to be great and pushed all of us toward our goal, which was to win a championship. And then playing that blonde-haired dude in the that game, check this out, 46, 47 years ago, still the #1 watched game in history. Indiana State versus Michigan State, by far. And so what a blessing it is. I was just hanging out with Larry just a week ago and still rubbing it in his face. No, I love Larry. That's my man. And I think we helped each other to be great. He pushed me. I knew he was shooting thousands of shots a day. That made me have to shoot thousands of shots a day. He was going to be better the next year. It made me work hard to be better. And so that front line, we'll never see a front line like that ever again. Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, the greatest front line we've ever seen in history.
How about that? By the way, quick shout, apologies, but I have to invoke Dusty May because his Michigan front line made history this season.
Yes.
First time ever a team had 3 players 6'9" or taller lead the team in scoring and win the national title in the same year. So.
And we want to congratulate him too.
Well, I've done that a lot, and he's going to get some more later. So that's coming.
Yeah. Him and Jazzy and the rest, whoever else is being honored.
Unquestionably. How did the college basketball team, or playing 2 years for Judd, for Go Green, Go White, how did that prepare you for what came, not just in your NBA career, but how did it truly shape you for what came after in the 90s? How did Michigan State and the college basketball experience kind of mold you as a person?
Well, I think that it molded you both on the court and off the court, right? And being with the students and meeting students from all over the world at Michigan State, and living in the dorm with them and getting to know them, and I think it helps you mature and grow, right? And then on the basketball side, I'm a gym rat, so I lived in the gym. And so they had to end up giving me a key because I was in the gym all day and all night. When I met my girlfriend, who is now my wife, Cookie, our first date was in the gym, right? You rebound, I shoot. And when she decided to throw the ball back to me, I said, that's the one I'm gonna marry right there. And so, but that's a true story, right? We went out, and then I went to the gym because I was driven to, try to be the best I could be. And Judd pushed me. And one thing great about Judd is the fact that, he said, Irvin, whatever shot you're gonna shoot in the game, I want to see you practicing that shot all week, or those shots. He was big on repetition and doing it over and over. And then he wouldn't let you, in the film session, he would get all over me and everybody else. And so that pushed me also to cut down on my turnovers and my mistakes. And he coached me hard. A lot of guys today don't want to be coached hard. I give Coach May a lot of credit. Young people today don't want to be coached hard, And so he has a balancing act. And your coach here, I can't remember his name, from the University of St. Louis. I met him too.
Josh Ertz.
Yes, I love him, his program, what he did. His big man is excellent as well. Coaches back then could be demanding and really let you know what they wanted. And so I'm so happy he pushed me and kept pushing me. So my experience was amazing on the Michigan State campus.
So several years ago, when Bill Walton was here, God rest his soul, we asked him in the era of NIL what he would be worth in the open market today. So could I extend that invitation?
You must have some thoughts.
18-year-old Irvin Johnson, what would you be commanding?
They don't have enough in their budget. And,
so the businessman is speaking.
That's
now.
right, that's right. But, I'm happy I played when I played. And so I'm happy for the young people today because I couldn't take Cookie out. I didn't have any money. I would love to have just a little money. I didn't need what they get today, but just a little money just to take her to the movies or to get a burger or something. On Tuesday, we used to cut out the coupons in the Spartan paper, and you could order one pizza, get the other one for free. And so I used to do that every Tuesday with her. A bunch of us get together, put a quarter in, everybody put something in. And so, but listen, it's a blessing. I just hope that they make sure that they put some rules in place on the transfer thing. The money, that's great. But jumping from school to school every single year, you can't be doing that. It hurts the programs. It hurts the fan base, So, but please get paid as much as you can,
Well, if I have a question from the Wayback Machine. If you think back to your first Summer League game after you were drafted, Cal State LA, stuffy gym on a Friday night, people wearing disco outfits.
Yeah.
He went to college during the end of disco. And you said afterwards, the access was a little different then. I am in the airport Marriott talking to you at 11 o'clock. Dr. Tucker is there.
Yes.
And you said, Michigan State made a lot of money, I guess. I was an employee getting a scholarship. If I was employed, I sure should have got a raise.
And the raise would have been just a Coke or something, right?
But another thing you said was, I've become the most businessed 19-year-old in the country. And I remember, you were embracing that notion, all these things being thrown at you. Was that the beginning of your awareness that led to what you're doing now?
Yeah, I think that, meeting Joe Ferguson and Greg Eaton and watching them build their business in Lansing, Michigan, inspired me so much. I didn't know that African Americans could own businesses, and they showed me that we could. And so I got up under them and I asked them to be my mentors, and they decided to do that. They gave me my first job. They owned an office building, about 7 floors, and my job was to clean, every floor Friday after, 6 o'clock when everybody left. And I'm a big believer, if you don't dream it, you can't become it. So I would go to the 7th floor where the CEO's office was, and I would go I started dreaming I was the CEO, and I'd go sit in his seat, put my feet up on his desk, hit the intercom button like I had an assistant out front or a receptionist. Can you bring me today's newspaper and some coffee and donuts? I'm just dreaming and talking to myself. And here it is, 50-some years later, I am the CEO. So it's a blessing that God blessed me with. And thank both of them for showing me that it's possible. And then thank you to my parents for pushing me to say, hey, you can do it, but you got to educate yourself. Not letting me take a break on that side of it. And now I got 6 sisters, and 4 of them are educators, so, they was on me as well, make sure that, hey, while you're at Michigan State, apply yourself. And I was able to do that. And then I was able to understand to save my money, and get with people like these people in this room. And while the guys were dreaming about, they wanted to be coaches after they were done, I was dreaming about, I wanted to be a businessman. So every stop I would meet with business people. And one day I walked in and asked Dr. Buss, the owner of Lakers, let me have all the phone numbers of the presidents and CEOs of companies because I want to cold call them and take them to lunch and pick their brain. He thought I was crazy, and I did that. And then the last story is I was doing something that was really you wasn't supposed to do. I was hanging out with the owner, Dr. Jerry Buss, and we went to lunch and dinner, but I was picking his brain. And he finally opened up the books and let me see how all the revenue streams of the Lakers. And so he taught me a lot about business, and he treated me like I was his son. And then the Laker players called a meeting on me. So I go in the locker room. We used to have this, if they call a meeting on you, you had to stand in the middle of the circle. So I'm thinking, they're going to tell me, I just had like 8, 9 triple doubles. They're going to tell me how great I was playing, we on a 9, 8 game winning streak. I'm thinking they're going to like pat me on the back or something. They said, Irvin, there's an unwritten rule, you can't hang out with the owner. I said, you guys are millionaires. He a billionaire. I'm hanging out with him because he could take me where I wanted to go. See, I was always thinking about what's next. I wasn't thinking about just now. I was thinking about where I was going to be 10 years from now. And sure enough, Dr. Buss started all of this, so I owe him a lot.
On that note, for those that might be unfamiliar or unaware in this room, or anyone watching on the live stream, what groups are closest to your head and your heart? What communities, when you've had the opportunity through your business ventures, mean the most to you that, not just in the here and the now and the 2020s, but from the start when you're, getting into business after your playing career was over? What has been, some of the signposts, the things that have kind of guided your compass from that end in philanthropy over the years, Magic?
Yeah, well, for me, it's just really the scholarships, right? Giving away scholarships to young people. A lot of minorities have the grades to go, don't have the financial means to go. I was in Chicago 3 days ago, speaking at one of the universities there, and I said, hey, I give a lot of scholarships to young people here right in Chicago, and a young lady jumped up and said, I was one of those who you gave a scholarship to. And so that's what drives me, I want to bless others. I got blessed. Somebody helped me to achieve my goals and dreams. So now my whole mission and purpose in life is to help others, right? And so that's what it's all about. So that's what we do, and then build technology centers in the poorest neighborhoods and make sure they have access to a computer. We do job fairs, try to prepare young people to get a job, on and on and on. So I just make sure that my foundation, we're doing the right thing. That's why I think it's so wonderful that you gave me this award, because Dean Smith and our mission, our purpose is aligned with one another.
And toward that end, you think back to November 7th of '91. I mean, those of us of a certain age, you remember exactly where you were, and like the thunderclap, you're dealing with a very private situation in a very public way. Do you remember at what point, as you were sorting through the information you were gathering, that you came to realize this experience can help the awareness of others and maybe make their journey somewhat better?
Well, I think that's it, right? When I announced I had HIV wow, now 34 years ago, going on 35, and you don't know the type of impact you're going to make because you just found out you had this, devastating news. I'm in the prime of my career, and so I asked the doctor, I said, what is it going to take for me to live for a long time? Because at that time, it was a death sentence, right? You only had one drug. And, but he told me, you have to, first of all, embrace your new status, right? And then you have to continue to work out and have a positive mindset and keep that smile on your face. I said, all right, I think I can do those things. But the hardest part really was to go home and tell my wife. I had played against Michael, thought that was going to be the hardest thing. Played against Larry, thought that was going to be the hardest. But the hardest thing was to drive home and tell my wife. And she was pregnant with our son, EJ, at that time. And so what a blessing it was that, 2 weeks later, she came back. All the tests, she was okay. The baby was okay. And so now it's time for me to get to work, and really find out more about HIV and AIDS, right? So I met with a lot of people. And because I'm solution driven. I'm such a, I gotta have information, all the information, and then I can make a good decision. So Elizabeth Glazier actually saved my life because she was dying at that time, but gave me all the information I needed to live for a long time. And she asked me to be the face of the disease. I decided to do that. And so here I am, 35 years later. And so I've been doing my part, and I've, raised a lot of money for HIV and AIDS, but also raised the awareness level for the disease as well as, make sure, care for a lot of people who are living with HIV.
And I'm guessing that there have been many, many conversations with people that have come up to you and thanked you in some way.
Oh, man, yes. You remember on the Dream Team, a lot of guys didn't want to play against me from other countries.
And your own.
Yeah, and some of my teammates later on. But once we got to playing, and I showed them I was still Magic, that took care of them. Then, same thing, we started playing against the teams, the guys that was leery, and I was still Magic. That took care of them too. But give David Stern, the old commissioner of the NBA before he passed away, he's the one that actually changed everything because he allowed me to play. And then we both changed the world together when it came to HIV and AIDS because they didn't know what type of player I was going to be. But man, I was training 3 times a day. I got my own ego to deal with, so I wasn't going to let myself get out of shape and all that. So it was a blessing. And then to play with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, the 2 dudes on my bucket list I always wanted to play with, man, coming down, I didn't know who to no-look. I was like, so if I no-look this superstar and throw it to this superstar, I hope he won't be mad at me, right? So I told Larry, I said, listen, man, he didn't want to play, right? I said, listen, man, don't worry about your back, because his back was hurting. I said, man, forget that. All you got to do is run in the corner and just wait. You don't have to play defense or nothing. Just run in the corner. Because when I come down and you in that corner, it'll be right in your hands. So I came down in Portland, the first game we played, no-looked him. He caught it, turned the seams. It was all net. Oh! And then the next time I came down, Michael Jordan was behind me. I just threw it behind me and got out the way. He just took all the tongue out. Bam! I said, that's it. Lord, you can take me now. That's all I ever wanted to do. Just throw him a pass and throw Larry a pass. Oh, man. Nah. Then we had Barkley, we had Pippen, we had Ewing, we had Robinson, we had Malone, we had Stockton, we had Mullen, we had Drexler. Woo! Every single guy is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And then we had this college dude. Okay. You come along for the ride. Come on. Christian Laettner, but you sit over there, though. But you come on. And give Coach K, Coach Daly, Coach Wilkins, all of them.
PJ.
Yes, a lot of credit.
Carlissimo.
Yes, that's my man. I just saw him too. We always talk about it. PJ is great. What a coaching staff, and got us ready. And we blew everybody out by about 42 points a game. But the crazy thing, I got to tell you guys this. So they fouled Michael first, and the dude just broke down crying. Oh, you're my hero. I fouled Michael. He's running around high-fiving his teammates that he fouled Michael Jordan. He couldn't believe it. And so then the other guy fouled me. He said, oh, this is the greatest. I got you on my wall in my bedroom. I can't believe I'm next to you, Magic. And so it was that type of love for the NBA from the other countries and the guys that we played against. So it was beautiful.
About that. By the way, you have been a part of 18 different championships, and we were talking before banquet here tonight. Pretty sure that's the most by any person in the history of American sports. Right Auerbach has what, 16?
Close but no cigar.
That's correct. So if we can just circle in on this, and we can wrap soon here. What's the difference between winning one as a player versus winning one on the owner's side? Your 18th, of course, came with the Dodgers. How, what kind of gratitude and fulfillment do you get being a key part of it off the field or court of play versus being such a key component on? What's the difference between the first one you ever got and the one that you just got with the Dodgers?
Well, as a player, you can control everything. It's in your hands as a point guard, right? And making sure everybody get their shots. And I just love controlling the action, and it's such an amazing feeling. I mean, Coach May can tell you, it's amazing to win a championship and with your core guys, and who you will know and be friends with forever. As an owner, you go crazy. You really do, because you can't control nothing. You can't control nothing. You sit there as a fan and you sweating and you going crazy, and you hope the pitcher strike him out. You hope we get hits and on and on and on.
You hope the pitcher covers first base.
Exactly. On and on and on, right? And so this past series, I think we were just going crazy because Toronto goes up 3-2 and goes back to Toronto. We got to win 2 games in Toronto to win. And, we almost should have lost, but we made every single play. And that's the heart of a champion. You got to knock a champion out. They didn't knock us out, and they let us stay around. And when you let a champ stay around, they're going to figure out how to win, and that's what happened. But I'm so happy that from the WNBA, from MLS to the Dodgers, the 3, the Lakers now 11 total, 5 as a player, 5 as an owner, 1 as an executive. I just love to win, man. And
well, that's what's driving it, right? Like, you've got involved in all these ownership groups with all these teams. Is there a certain part of you that is just still craving an element to the competition that you can no longer get as a player?
Well, that's a part of it, but also the joy of sports. I love sports. And so now I just need a Super Bowl ring. So my Commanders, we got to win a Super Bowl sometime. So, and hopefully we'll get one soon here. But I would just say I'm competitive, even as an owner. I was supposed to meet the Cardinal owners. When you play in the MLB and you have the game at your stadium, you're supposed to host the owners of the other team. So my partner said, okay, we got to go host the owners of not just St. Louis, but all the other teams. I said, no. And he said, no, you have to. I said, no, I hate them. No, true story. I said, I hate them. I can't be in a love affair with a team and an owner. I hate them. They're opponents. In basketball, we hate you. We don't go up and shake your hand and do that thing. And so I told the commissioner, I said, I'm never going to shake nobody else's hand. I want to win too bad. So I shake their hand. If they beat us, I'll shake their hand after we're done. But that love affair before, nah, that's not going to happen. So, but at the same time, it's a blessing. Listen, did I ever in my wildest dream think I would win 18 championships? No, but when I was playing, I thought we would win championships. Now, as a businessman, this has been great for me, and so it's a blessing. But not only winning the championship, but every team is doing well. We lead the league in attendance, the Dodgers, for 12 straight years that we've owned the team. On Mondays, we get 30,000 fans. Most people don't get 8,000, right? That's how we've been almost over 4 million every single year. We think we may do 5 million fans this year. And so it's a tremendous thing that we're building and that we're doing. So it's a great thing. And see, the reason I'm here, because of them two dudes right there. See, inspiring young men like this, and that's what it's all about. So let me just say this to everybody. God bless you. I hope in 2026 you get everything that your heart desires. Thank you for allowing me to come to your great city. I've been here not only just for the Cardinal games, but also the NCAA tournament. Michigan State has played here 3 or 4 times, and I was here every time. And the greatest moment I had my father with me while he was still alive. And so we used to come and have a good time here in the city. So again, thank you for this award. Dean Smith was an icon, and still the things that he's been able to build off the court, not just the memories on the court, but off the court. His legacy is still alive, and the things that he still has going on at Chapel Hill. So again, thank you for this great evening, and the award with some great people too. I hate Mr. May, but I'm happy that he's here. Because his team was so good and beat my team. And then this young lady, Jazzy, next year, check USC out. They're going to win the national championship next year. All right. God bless you. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Magic Johnson, everyone.
Magic Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it for him again. Well, between Magic and Dusty and Jazzy, and I guess for me in Indiana, we have the Big Ten covered tonight with my co-host here tonight from the University of Illinois, Belleville native, former host of 101 ESPN, and currently the co-host of Unsportsmanlike on ESPN2. Please welcome back again, Michelle Smallman.
Hi, everybody. How we doing? So good to be home in St. Louis. Always great to be here. We have Matt Norlander here. Matt, now that we are done with the Magic Johnson conversation, and what a beautiful talk you just had with him.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Learned so much.
Yeah,
but we need to tap into your expertise here in the world of college basketball.
If that's what we're calling it. All right, let's do it.
Expertise, absolutely. Well, since I started covering college basketball, and since you started covering college basketball, and everyone here started observing college basketball, the landscape of the game obviously has changed a lot. So what's one word you would use to describe the state of college basketball today?
Chaos. Absolute and utter chaos. In many ways, that can be interpreted with just everything that comes with the glorious month of March, I'm fortunate to say that I get to cover my absolute favorite sport. Not everyone in sports media can claim the same. And I love the fact that college basketball does truly take over like a 3-4 week stretch of the sports calendar and captures the imagination and the hearts of so many around the country in a way that truly like no other sport can. Like I acknowledge the NFL, a different beast altogether. College football, higher viewership, but there is nothing like the power of college basketball. There is no other sport in the country where quite literally as a foundation of its national tournament, you can have a team in at High Point, North Carolina, or a team in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they both get to compete for a national championship just as a foundation of the sport. At least one school represented from every single conference, and it's beautiful. But now, as we talk here, let's see. All right, Dusty not on his phone. We got a little break from the portal, which is good to see. That's the chaos, though. Better or worse, and many coaches would say for worse, as soon as the season ends, like quite literally, I believe as we were standing on the court, watching one shining moment play in the stadium, as people were watching it at home, I'm pretty sure it hit midnight Eastern, and that is when the portal opened. And so, like right now, it's open for another week or so, and roster decisions are being made at this hour, this week, to determine how these teams will be built and ultimately determine, the stories and the plot points for the 26-27 season.
Well, you mentioned Coach May, who's here. Congratulations again, Coach, on your championship. And the portal, which is obviously a huge part of the game these days. And in sports, we always see what works and other people want to copycat it. So whether it's the way that Michigan utilized the portal to perfection, my team, Illinois, the international pipeline, those big Balkans, what sort of trends do you see developing in college basketball right now that could be the template for other teams seeking that success?
What will be interesting, and I'll bring Dusty up here a little bit later in the evening, but I'll mention it here and nix it from my introduction. I do think that he may have been a trendsetter in this regard. He identified talent Michigan did not go out and seek the four of the 10 biggest names in the portal a season ago. He identified talent that fit very specific needs and what they needed, but in the process, they got big. So there was a phase where you were looking for shooters and wing athletes, and you can still win that way, but it would not surprise me if we get to, say, 3-4 weeks from now and we take a scan at the off-season, top 25s and how reliable or not those are, and we see a general template of teams at the highest level with purportedly the biggest budgets trying to go big. You saw what Michigan was able to do. Florida was a number 1 seed, and it had one of the biggest, biggest front lines in the country this season. We saw Illinois got big. That comes with the spoils of being a high major program. So that might be one type of way. But to me, the beauty of basketball is that there is not, at least college basketball, styles really do make fights. And one of the most appealing parts about the sport to me is that not every coach applies the same doctrine in how they run a program, let alone what they're doing on the whiteboard, drawing up X's and O's. You can win in a variety of different ways. And because of that, that's how we get different kind of upsets that pop, and different teams have different needs and different means of building out those rosters. So I do think teams will now enter into a phase where they're going to try and get big. It's not so much positionless basketball, 5 out all the time. I think by function of Michigan winning and the way that it did, as I mentioned before, I was shocked when our research team passed along the stat a month ago. No team had ever won a national championship with its 3 tallest players in the starting lineup, all leading the team in scoring 6'9" or taller. Well, Michigan just did that. And if you saw how it played, it's not just all that. Elliot Cadeau was the most outstanding player of the Final Four, and rightfully so. It's about the right blend, and obviously Dusty can speak to this as well or better than anyone else, but it's become more and more challenging because as I talk to coaches throughout the season, sometimes I'll dial them up in the middle of December, I'll check in at the end of January, and these will sometimes be coaches of teams that are sitting 1, 2, 3 in their league standings. How's everything going? And sometimes, coaches off the record will be like, it's good, and the but is you just have no guarantee that no matter how well regarded that incoming freshman is, or if you got 3 of potentially the 40 or 50 best ranked players in the transfer portal, are these human beings going to like each other 4 months, 6 months after they all join forces in the summer. There's just you can't prepare for that. So that's another big function of what college basketball is in 2026 and the dynamics at play.
These coaches need to do individualized pizza parties and cornhole like Coach May did with his guys, right? Well, speaking of coaches, this was in the news cycle. Michael Malone, hired at UNC, obviously won at the highest level in the NBA. Do you think that that's a trend that we'll see in college basketball? More guys with that NBA pedigree that want to compete at the college level now that there is more of a professional tone to what they're doing?
That's a good question. I'm uncertain that it will be something that develops into a real trend. You can build out real cases in favor of that happening and real cases against it happening. In Carolina's case, it was Michael Malone is the coach at North Carolina as a function of a few things. There were a few coaches that were targeted by North Carolina. One of them may or may not be in this room. We can keep it moving.
I wonder who that is.
That's just the reality of it. And Michael Malone has a daughter who attends North Carolina, is on the volleyball team, and spent time around the program this season. And listen, he was eager, willing, and ready to say, yeah, I'll give it. Let's go. Let's give it a shot. And why wouldn't you? If you're North Carolina, you've got someone who's won an NBA championship, knows how to run a team, and now he's going to try and step in and run it at the college level. There's no guarantee it will work, but for all we know, he'll step in and just do a bang up job and change the dynamic again. So will we see that? I'm not totally convinced, but I will say I do think the enticement will be there just in regard to the state of the college game. So there's a lot of chaos with all of the transfer movement, and what Magic was saying I completely agree with. Like, you just don't want to have a situation where so many players are looking to get the biggest payday, and as a function of that, with no restriction on when they can transfer, they're just going year after year after year. Getting some sort of guardrail around that, and man, I hate that word. I said it on stage, but I guess it's the most appropriate word, is important. But college basketball is coming off of one of its most successful NCAA tournaments ever, certainly in the modern era. This season, I mean, we had the most ranked non-conference games in the history of college basketball, and it's because of coaches like Dusty who are willing, like Dusty had the foresight to say, yeah, why wouldn't I want to play Duke in Washington, D.C. in February in non-conference play, and kind of push the envelope in that regard. So from a scheduling standpoint, coaches are leaning in. We just had our most efficient season in terms of points per possession and offense in the history of college basketball. So you look at the size, you look at the experience, you look at the shooting. The sport cosmetically, as a product, is in a very, very, very good place. But it's where we find ourselves right now on the calendar that just it tears guys at the seams. It's not an easy job, and building these rosters year after year after year when you're turning over 6, 8, 10 different players, it's not a spot that I don't think anyone really wants to find themselves in. But it's the reality of where we are now, and I hope that we can get to, say, 5 years down the road, and we can look back and you know, kind of look back at what things the way they used to be, and we find ourselves in a better spot for players, coaches, admins, fans, all of it.
Okay, let's not look back. Let's look forward.
Sure.
We've had our one shining moment. The Nets have been cut down. Again, shout out to Michigan. Wish it was Illinois, but if it couldn't be Illinois, glad it's Michigan. I know there's still a lot of movement to happen, but what are some teams that all of us in this room can look at for next year and say they're going to be a team to deal with, that we can regurgitate to our friends and sound smart?
Okay. Not because he's in the room, even if he wasn't in the room. Michigan will get it done without a doubt. Florida looks like a team that's built. North Carolina's off to a good start. Louisville's off to a good start. Kentucky may or may not land two relatively significant commitments over the next 24, 48, 72 hours. There's certainly one to watch for. Would never doubt Dan Hurley whatsoever. Just got to 3 title games in a 4-year span, so they're impressive. But I would caution everyone in the room to just keep in mind that a lot of these like preseason projections, they're so hard to forecast. We are trying to look at rosters and, okay, this guy did this, and now he's going to be here. He's going to play for that coach. So it is hard to determine. Do I think your Illini will? Yes.
That's really why I asked this question. Obviously.
At least top 8 in the Big Ten. I'm very, very confident. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Brad Underwood does an amazing job, and I expect the Illini are not going to go anywhere whatsoever. I texted Brad after the Final Four. Like, he's too good of a coach. Like, he did not. That will not be the only one he gets to. It just won't be the case. So the Illini are are getting ready to restock and reload, and I expect them to also be a major factor. And then another one, I think, UCLA, Cronin, they're making moves. The Big Ten in general. Just the last thing from me. Oh, there we go. Was that an MIZ?
That was.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
You're in a room with a lot of Tigers.
I'm just kidding. The Big Ten in general is on an absolute heater across the board, and I do wonder if, from football to basketball, men's and women's, like, are we about to enter into an era? Just the nature of the alumni base and everything they have behind their programs. Like, is the back end of this decade going to be the decade in which the Big Ten truly takes over the college sports industrial complex? Right now, that's where we're at. There we go. So we'll see.
Incredible insight. Thank you, Matt. Everybody give it up for Matt Norlander.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. And I will pass it back to Tom Ackerman.
All right, thanks very much. Appreciate both of you for that. And it's time to recognize some VIPs in the audience. Please hear it for St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore with us tonight. Also understand we have two of the greatest outfielders in Cardinals history with us, Ray Lankford and Brian Jordan. While we're on that topic, Jordan Walker hit his 8th home run tonight. Missouri S&T coaches Bill Walker and Kira Carter at table 31. We have with us UMSL coach Bob Sunvold. And from SWIC, they went 32-1 this past season, Jonathan Denny. And the Hall of Fame voice of the St. Louis Billikens with his wife Jen, Bob Ramsey. Please welcome to the stage one of the greatest players in St. Louis history, Larry Hughes. Larry, just wanted to get you up here for a few minutes. You are a St. Louis legend. You talk about NIL possibilities. My gosh. Larry, how are you? It's great to see a first-round pick, but also the USBWA National Freshman of the Year in 1998.
It's always good to be seen, and happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. What do you remember from 98 receiving that honor from the USBWA?
Just the hard work, and the people that supported and helped me along the way, with that journey. My mother and my brother was a big part of, my push to be as great as I can be. And, back then I wasn't really concerned about, accolades, so to speak. Just go out there and put the work in and see what happens afterwards. But definitely pleased with the outcome.
What a season that was, wasn't it? I mean, Kiel Center was absolutely packed. Those nights, I'm sure, were special for a St. Louis kid.
Oh, for sure. I mean, St. Louis, born and bred, hometown, be able to put on for the family and friends. I went to CBC High School, so it was right up the road. Yeah, purple and gold, yeah. So it's always good to be in an environment where, people want you to succeed. And then obviously living in St. Louis now, hearing all the stories of back then of, people being in the stands and having their kids in the stands, just a blessing.
You spent 14 years in the NBA, scored over 10,000 points, but you were a tremendous defensive player. You took a lot of pride in that, didn't you?
Oh, I did. I think, the most important thing is if you're going to play basketball, you play both ends. The biggest thing that I wanted to, really represent is that, I knew I can score, but it was, a goal to not let the other person score, right? Take morale, keep the top player down. That's what I was all about.
And I wanted to ask you your takeaway from hearing Magic Johnson speak here tonight and what he had to say about not only his career, but the second act of his life and career, what he does in the community.
Well, the NBA is a brotherhood. Those that have come before you, those that come after you, you always want to tap into what they're doing. And Magic was the blueprint. We always, talk about, obviously, what he did on the court, but off the court. How he was able to impact his community, how he was able to, like he said, be a steward, be a provider for resources that were necessary. So he was definitely the blueprint. I met Magic years and years ago as a young pup. I played in his Magic All-Star game when I first got into the league, so definitely a blessing to see him again.
Last thing, tell us what you're doing as you continue to, I think, excite the youth in St. Louis. Every time I turn around, you have something going on with kids in this town and spreading not only the game, but the goodness of life and being together and helping this community.
Well, that's the give back. I mean, having an understanding that I run a youth basketball program that's about character development on the court and off the court as well. Our mission is creating and building peak performers. So my goal is to not create NBA basketball players or WNBA basketball players, but good, solid people that are active in the classroom, active in the community, and then obviously the court is a blessing for those things that they do outside of it. So continue to give back to the young people. They're my energy. I wake up in the morning with ideas on how to support them, how to give them certain resources that I know that are necessary. So, I love the youth.
Well, I'll speak for this room. We're here to support you. Larry Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's turn things back over to Michelle Smallman.
Thank you, Tom. We have some more awards to acknowledge tonight, and let's start here with the Perry Wallace Most Courageous Award, which is given to Tyon Grant Foster. He has an incredible, incredible story of resilience. He played for 5 different colleges. He started his career at Indian Hills Community College, and his play there earned him an offer from the University of Kansas. He then went to DePaul after that, but just 20 minutes into his debut with the Blue Demons, his life and his career completely changed. When he was headed to the locker room at halftime, he collapsed in the tunnel. Medical staffers rushed to him. They applied a defibrillator to him. They resuscitated him. And after a 10-day stint in the hospital, it was revealed that he had a genetic condition and he had scarring on his heart, and he needed to have a defibrillator implanted inside his body. 3 months after that first incident, he collapsed again playing pickup basketball. This required another surgery for him, and more scarring had to be removed. Everyone thought his playing career was over. But 762 days after his first and only game at DePaul, he scored 30 points in a season-opening win for his next stop at Grand Canyon University. His career continued at Gonzaga, and in his final year, he provided a spark for the nationally ranked Zags. He posted 11 points per game and 5 rebounds per game, but obviously his story is so much more than the numbers. He never thought he would play basketball again, so we are so honored to give the Perry Wallace Most Courageous Award to Tyon Grant Foster. Congratulations to him. What an incredible story. Now, let's acknowledge our Women's Coach of the Year, Shea Ralph at Vanderbilt. Yes, she delivered an historic season. She led the Commodores to an unprecedented success and national prominence. She took Vanderbilt, and this team, mind you, returned just one starter from a year ago. She led the Commodores to their most successful regular season in school history. Vandy had a 27-4 regular season record and a 13-3 mark in SEC games. She guided Vandy to a top 5 ranking in both the AP Top 25 and the USA Today WBCA Coaches Poll for the first time since 2001. Those 13 SEC wins that I mentioned set the school record for the most conference victories in a season, and those 27 victories are the most in a regular season in school history. Let's learn a little bit about our USBWA Coach of the Year, Shea Ralph.
I want us to feel ready. I want us to know what everyone's going to bring.
In 5 seasons, Ralph has restored the Commodores to prominence, ending a decade-long NCAA tournament drought, and now looking to establish her program among the nation's elite.
I mean, what Shea Ralph has done with this team has just been outstanding.
having the time of my life coaching this team. Since the day that I got here, my players have made me better and are the absolute reason that Vanderbilt basketball is where it is.
Coach Ralph is her unwavering belief. She always reminded us that it's not about the scoreboard, it's about the habits that we're developing.
We're going to be hardworking and tough, and we're going to win a lot, but we're also going to enjoy the journey. I think you can do that, and I want to be able to prove it here at Vanderbilt.
And it's a top 4 win for Shea Ralph's squad. They dominate the number 5 Texas Longhorns. They win it 86-70.
Congratulations to Coach Ralph. Next, we would like to acknowledge our National Women's Player of the Year, the recipient of the Ann Myers Drysdale Award, Sarah Strong. Sarah Strong delivered one of the most dominant all-around seasons in the country for UConn. She averaged 18.4 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game while shooting 60% from the field. She led the Huskies in points, rebounds, steals, and blocks, and she anchored both ends of the floor for a UConn team that was absolutely dominant this year, unbeaten, 36-0, entering the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16. She was incredible. Her versatility made her one of the most difficult matchups in the sport. Let's learn a little bit about our USBWA National Player of the Year on the women's side, Sarah Strong.
The 3 is good.
To Van, beautiful pass, Strong to Shade.
Trap here, and another steal. Strong and Fudd combine, and Strong lays it in, plus the foul. A chance for 3 for the All-American Sarah Strong. Gives it back, Strong fires, and hits.
Made an immediate impact, as that one is blocked by Sarah Strong. Look at her run the floor as well, keeping her eyes up. Easy Fudd finds Strong, that connection. Defense doesn't let up. Sarah Strong leads the team scoring, blocks, and steals.
Trying to create. Bradford gets denied. It's Strong again. Notre Dame wanted a whistle. Arnold feeds Strong for the lane. Alfie, Strong a 3. It is good.
One more time for Sarah Strong. What a player. And speaking of dominance, I'm so excited to announce next our Women's Freshman of the Year, the recipient of the Tamika Catchings Award, Jazzy Davidson, who's here with us tonight. And let me brag on her for a second here. Jazzy became the only player among Division I women to lead her team outright in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. She scored in double figures 29 times, including 26 straight at one point, and recorded 14 games of 20 or more points, highlighted by 2 30-point performances during the regular season. She's incredible. She was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Year while also earning First Team All-Big Ten, Big Ten All-Defensive Team, and Big Ten All-Freshman Team honors. She also received the Associated Press and USBWA All-America Honorable Mention recognition, and she was named the National Freshman of the Year by The Athletic. And, not to mention, the Tamika Catchings Award. Let's welcome to the stage Jazzy Davidson. So great to have you here, Jazzy.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We are so, so proud of you. So I just listed your resume. I was out of breath after I did that because you've accomplished so much. What does it mean for you to take a step back now that the season is over and reflect on all you've accomplished in such a short amount of time?
It means everything. I think I'm just super blessed to have the people that I've had around me this season. I have amazing teammates and amazing coaches, so none of it would be possible without them.
Well, one of your teammates, Juju Watkins, obviously was dealing with an injury. We're very familiar with Juju in this room. She's obviously been honored here at the MAC and with these awards several times. But how did that injury and her absence on the court allow you to step into this role that you had this season?
Yeah, I mean, all season she's just been a great mentor for me. Just coming into college basketball as a freshman, there's a huge learning curve, and she helped me a lot with that, so very grateful for her.
Well, what did you learn specifically from her? I'm sure she's a great resource for you to have.
For sure. On the court, I think just pace was a huge thing for me, learning how to play at my own pace, not letting the defense speed me up, and she would constantly remind me of that. And then, yeah, just slowing down, enjoying the moment.
What's it going to be like to play with her next season?
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. Yeah.
I'm sure the rest of college basketball can wait. They don't want to see you two out there together. USC has such a rich history of superstars at the women's level. What does it mean for you to wear that jersey and know that you're the next one in line at USC to get awards like this?
Yeah. I mean, it just means everything. Again, like from Cheryl Miller to Lisa Leslie to Ju and now me. I mean, it's a very rich legacy, and I'm just very happy to be a part of it.
When I was reading up about you, there's so many parts of your game that fascinate me, but your defense is on point. How much pride do you take in the defensive aspect of your game?
I definitely take a lot of pride in the defensive aspect of my game. I think it kind of fuels everything else I do on the court, so yeah.
And finally, you've accomplished so much already. What's next for you? What's next on the vision board for Jazzy?
Hopefully a national championship.
That's a pretty good thing. Let's give it up for Jazzy Davidson.
Thank you, guys.
Michelle, thank you very much for that. It is my honor to present both the Oscar Robertson Trophy and the Wayman Tisdale Award for Men's Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year. He's only the 5th ever to win both in the same year in leading the Blue Devils to the ACC regular season and tournament championships. Nation's 9th leading scorer, 22.4 per game. 3rd nationally with 21 double-doubles. Oh, he also led the ACC in rebounding, was 12th in assists, 15th in steals, 5th in field goal percentage, and how about this? Recorded at least 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists in all 35 games heading into the Sweet 16. That is the longest such streak by any player, men's or women's, at any point in a Division I career this century. From Duke University, Cameron Boozer.
Such an honor for Cam to win Most Outstanding Player and Best Freshman in college basketball. I wish we could be there today, but please know how much this means for Cam, myself, and for our program. I'd like to thank the USBWA for recognizing Cam Boozer and what a special year he had. And to win the National Player of the Year, National Freshman of the Year, is an incredible honor. So proud of Cam. He was an absolute joy to coach. I think you can look at his stats, and that clearly tells a story. But for me, the competitor that he is, the teammate, every single day he showed up to make others better, and the fact that he did something without ever, look, he never went through the season before, and each step of the way he answered the challenge that was ahead of him. And I couldn't be more proud to coach him, what he did this season. And it's an honor for our program to have this award. So thank you all for voting for him and for making this such a special honor.
First of all, to start off by just, thanking everyone. Super honored, super blessed to have this award. This year, that was everything I could have asked for and more. I wouldn't be here without my teammates, my coaches, my parents, obviously, my family, my brothers. So I'm just super thankful for everyone who helped me get to this position to be able to get awards like this, man. It's a blessing. This award's been around for a long time. There's been a lot of Duke players to win, so hopefully there can be many more in the future. But I just think playing at Duke, being on the biggest stage, it motivates you to give more, motivates you to do more, and I think that's why so many Duke players are so successful and end up having great seasons. Like I said, hopefully there's many more in the future. But I just want to thank the USBWA and the Missouri Athletic Club for giving me this honor. Like I said, I'm super thankful, super grateful. It's a blessing to be here and for you to recognize the season I had. So, yes, sir.
Cam, congratulations. Each and every year we try to highlight a great local basketball story, and this year, that story is St. Louis University basketball.
The definition of competitive greatness is being at your best when your best is required.
Trey Green brings it back, 65-45. Goes high post, Robbie, back to Trey. He's got another look. Bang! Gets it ahead to Sharma. Instant Sharma from the left wing. Bang! He did it again! 102-71. The Billikens, the most points they've ever scored on the Dayton Flyers. On the dribble. Wants to drive. Turns the corner. Spins. Gets out. Robbie, open look. Bang! Robbie Avila. 3 seconds. Gotta get it in. The length of the floor. Stolen away by Avila. The Billikens win. The Billikens win.
The play through Avila. The spin. Roundtree. Down the lane. Show and go. No! At the end of this game. Stabs. Chris Billikens announce their presence in the NCAA tournament in a big way.
A journey is defined by who you go on it with. And for me, to get to do it with these players, the best coaching staff in college basketball, I mean that, and you guys, nobody has it better than us. So thank you so much for all you guys have done from a fan standpoint to push us, support us, players, coaches. This journey's been incredibly special, and it's because you guys have made it so. So thank you so much.
Please welcome, from the Atlantic 10 champion St. Louis Billikens, head coach Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila. Gentlemen, great to have you. What a year. I mean, Coach, when you watch all of that, how you doing, by the way? How many texts have you gotten tonight?
Too many.
Yeah, I bet. What goes through your mind when you watch all that again?
Just, obviously some incredible memories. I'm glad they left the Michigan game off there, so was pleased that didn't make the reel. But no, it was an incredible journey and so much fun to, as I've said, the people I get to work with every day, the staff, the players. The longer you're in it, the championships are awesome, and it's a cool moment. But the relationships you build and the connections you make are the holy grail in the deal. And so lucky to do it with the people I do it with, staff, the players I got to coach, and the work they did.
Robbie, is it a mixture of emotions? I mean, you're going to miss being a Billiken, I'm sure, but appreciate the journey that you were on?
Yeah, it's a super bittersweet moment to, capitalize on our situation here, finish the last, year that I had in college and make the tournament, win a game. I'm agreeing with him. We're going to leave the Michigan out. But just to be able to go through these 4 years and, create all these memories with, not only just him, but the coaches, the assistant coaches, the teams that I've been a part of, super special. Definitely had my fun here, and so I'm done with him.
What was the key to the success, Robbie, of this team?
I think just everybody buying in, listening to him, understanding that, he was going to put us in the right spot. But I think just, everybody wanting to play for each other. I think that's the difference between, a regular team to a championship team is, us truly enjoying each other's presence, wanting each other to succeed and, not having any egos. And I think that's exactly what we have. And that's why, this season was so special.
I feel like there's a lot more between you two coming for some reason. They're just, it's too good. The way you play off of each other. You're not only coach-player, but you've known him for a long time. I mean, the two of you clicked pretty early, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've carried this guy for 4 years. I mean, think about that. In a lot of cases, I mean, people are like, players make coaches, but sometimes coaches make players. And so I've had to carry this guy for 4 years. I mean, I wasn't like, Dusty's players propped him up, but I actually carried Robbie for 4 years. So just want to make that distinction. No, but,
I'll just say, check his 5 years at D1. Which one was his worst? The one without me.
What's coming, Coach? I mean, it sounds like you have a pretty good squad coming back here so far.
Yeah, pretty incredible. In this day and age, you win 29 games, you win a championship, you get the tournament, you win a game. It doesn't matter if you're Power 5 or non-Power 5. We had 10 guys who could possibly return to our team, and 9 of those guys are returning, which is, remarkable to have guys have that level of ownership in the program, and to feel like not just the relationships that we have with them, but the relationships they have with each other. I think what the school has done, the commitment the school's made to our players, but also the community and what the city's done. The fact of selling out Chaffetz, walking in, playing in front of 10,600 on a nightly basis. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. Our players appreciate that, and that's a huge reason why you're going to look out. And that corporate knowledge, everybody says, I think, which is some validity, get old, stay old. But getting old together means something. Shared experience means something. And the fact that we got 9 guys back that won a championship, got to the NCAA tournament, won a game, we did get to see in the second round, what it looks like at the highest level. And that window, gives us a chance to, as we go in, add the right pieces. But certainly is an incredible experience for our guys to come back, and will give us a chance not to, start where we left off, but certainly gives us an opportunity to do something special here in 26, 27.
What's next for you, Robbie? I mean, all this knowledge that you've retained from Coach Schertz and everything in your career. But in all honesty, what's next for you moving forward?
Just
MAC championships.
That's what I'm going to do. Go ahead. No, I think I'm going to play a little bit more basketball professionally, hopefully, before we get to that. But just, go through this process, hopefully be able to earn some opportunities, at whatever level it is, whether it be the NBA, overseas, really, really soak in the moments, enjoy this, but, prepare and put myself in the best situation. And like I said, take advantage of all the opportunities that I'm going to get, in these next, 5-6 weeks or more.
Robbie hasn't seen the, I got to watch one time MAC men's league game. He hasn't seen the level of play. I don't know that that's not professional. It's pretty good. It's pretty
I don't
good.
think I'm ready for that level just yet, so I'm going to take it easier.
And the crowd has its hopes dashed here tonight. But final thing for you, Coach, is that you do have your friend Dusty May in the house, and you've referenced Michigan a couple of times. The national champion, what can you say about what Coach means to you?
Obviously, I told him this after, if it wasn't us, I'm glad it was him. Obviously, I'd much rather it be St. Louis, but if it's not, I'm good with it being Michigan. I just have an incredible, respect for Dusty's. I think everybody talk about coaches and wins and championships and all that stuff, and winning a national championship's an incredible accomplishment. But, the way you can really, to me, the way you gauge a coach's greatness is by how players talk about them, right? Like, I think everybody has a professional legacy, and you accomplish whatever you accomplish. You win ever many games, and you see a lot of coaches who win championships and leave a path of destruction in their wake. The really good, I think your personal legacy is so much more, and that's like, do those that know you best love you most, right? Are you loved by the people you want to be loved by? And when you look at the great coaches, like the way their players speak about them, the way the assistant coaches speak about them, the way everybody that they interact with on a daily basis in their orbit speak about them, I think that's how you measure the greatness of a coach. And so Dean Smith, think about the way the players talk about him, the former people that work for him. I think Dusty's very much in that same vein. We obviously have a great friendship and built on a lot of, commonalities. But at the end of the day, I really respect that the people that, know him best, his players, his coaches, love him, swear by him. And I think that's the ultimate test to a coach's greatness.
Can't wait to be back with you next year.
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila. I'd like to welcome to the podium, ladies and gentlemen, MAC Basketball Chairman, Matt Morris.
Good evening, guys. I mean, Magic Johnson, holy cow. I wanted to give a few thank yous in here before we present the last award of the night. I'd like to thank all the individual MAC members that are in attendance tonight. Many of you have sponsored this event since we started hosting in 2018. A big shout out to our title sponsor, my guy Jay Allison and the Morgan Stanley crew. Thank you guys. Also to our presenting sponsors, Gallagher and Renaissance Financial. How about a round of applause for our two co-hosts tonight, huh? I don't know where Michelle went, but ILL? That's right. Also, thank you to our friends at USBWA, Malcolm Moran, Matt Norlander. We really appreciate your guys' continued partnership, and we hope to keep this going as long as we can. Thank you. All right. To present the final award of the night, I'm going to welcome back Matt Norlander.
All right, just a couple things here. I wanted to at least name the first teamers on the men's and women's side, in addition to our players of the year. So on the women's side, Lauren Betts from UCLA, Michaela Blakes from Vanderbilt, Azzy Fudd from Connecticut, Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame, and of course Sarah Strong from UConn. And the men's first team All-Americans on behalf of the USBWA this season, a lot of freshmen. Darius Acuff Jr. from Arkansas, of course Cam Boozer from Duke, AJ DeBonsa from BYU, and then two vets, Braden Smith from Purdue and Yaxel Lendenborg from Michigan. So those are the first teamers, and it was an honor to serve as the president of the USBWA this season. It was the 70th season in the organization's existence. We will soon have our all-decade teams to represent all 7 decades that will be released in the near future, and Boozer will be a part of the most recent one there. Want to welcome to the stage Justin May in just a minute, but I do want to at least put a little bit in context into who he is and what he has been able to do, and so very much appreciate him taking the time to be here tonight. I first got to know Dusty 4 years ago or so when he was at FAU, and who he was as a person, in addition to his abilities as a coach. In fact, I remember Dusty might not remember, but I actually remember the first time Dusty and I met. It was at the Peach Jam, late 2010s, talking to Mike White, and Mike White was talking up Dusty in a way that, frankly, a lot of head coaches don't about their assistants. And so there were, I guess it might have been mid-2010s, and I remember thinking, okay, let's see where this is going. And lo and behold, he does what he does at FAU, right? And he is just from the media perspective side, just from the reporter's perspective. You guys have seen him lead Michigan to a national championship. He had 64 wins in his first 2 seasons at Michigan. That ties John Calipari when he started at Kentucky for the most wins in the first 2 seasons with the program. Cal had experience, previously much more as a head coach. Dusty went from FAU to Michigan, and look what he's done already. He is, in my opinion, as sharp, witty, forward-thinking, innovative as just about any coach in the game. And I remember talking to some other folks in the media when he was making the Final Four run and obviously catching all this attention about what he had done there and mentioning to them, I was like, guys, he really might wind up being like one of the best coaches in college basketball in short order. And when we were having those conversations, it was amid the Final Four run. So the idea was, well, is he going to leave FAU right away and take a bigger job? And I remember him telling me privately at the time, that's not going to happen. Like, we've got a really tight group. I'm coming back. They're coming back. And lo and behold, like, he was true to his word, and to no surprise, took him back to the tournament again. I'm not shocked whatsoever that he has done what he has done here. He has elevated Michigan as a program. 8 wins before he got there. To do what he did in 2 years' time, it quite literally and statistically represents something that had never happened in the history of men's college basketball. To take a program that had such a dire down season and in 2 years' time total 64 wins and a national championship run. And oh, by the way, in year 1, a really, really good team that made the second weekend. So he's so very deserving of this honor. This night deserves to have him wrapping up as the featured main event. On behalf of the USBWA, who is so proud to call him the Henry Iba Coach of the Year Award, because we vote on this before the start of the tournament. So although there was a lot of good teams and a lot of worthy coaches, is a particular point of pride for the USBWA that in this season, we voted on the man deserving of the award who would go on to coach the Michigan Wolverines to just their second national championship in program history. Welcome to the stage, the one and only Dusty May.
The first 5 minutes will be about emotion and distractions and all this other stuff. The next 35 minutes, it's going to be about discipline, our habits, and how we play the game of basketball. All right, let's go play 40 real sound minutes of basketball.
Evan is with the Wolverines.
Dusty, congratulations. What do you appreciate about what your team has done?
Just how much they've given to each other and how they become such a unit. It's a special group.
Wow. And that was all just a week ago. I mean, this has really been some week for you, hasn't it, Dusty May? Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a blur. That seems like it was 6 months ago.
Henry Iba. What does that name mean to you, let alone the list that follows the great coaches of all time?
I think without Coach Knight, I wouldn't have much familiarity with Coach Iba, but he referred to him as his foundation of defensive principles and even in some things offensively as well. But Coach Knight spoke of him regularly, and when you read Coach Knight's books, a lot of them referred back to Coach Iba. So even though he's much before my time, his legacy carries on.
You and I both spent time at Indiana University in different capacities with Coach Knight. What did he teach you? What did you absorb from his coaching?
I'm going to piggyback on what Coach Schertz said about players. When they were finished at Indiana and they were gone and they could no longer do anything for Coach Knight or the university, he poured into them more, invested in them more to help them in life after basketball. So I think it begins and ends there. And then obviously he's a master teacher, communicator, motivator. You could go on and on. He was much ahead of his time with analytics. With teaching pedagogy, you could go down the line. I'm only here because of that experience. And when you go be a manager for Coach Knight, you don't get paid. All you're looking for is an opportunity to learn from one of the greatest teachers to ever walk.
Dusty, you said it in the video there after your victory that you were so proud of how the team came together. There are some talented rosters in college basketball, and yours was one of them. But how do you, as a group of coaches, or I guess as an entire staff of people, bring a team together to accomplish a goal?
That's a multi-layered question. When you're bringing in guys and you're adding them to a group and they all have their own goals and dreams and personal ambition, and you're trying to get them to throw all that aside temporarily while we do something great together, it takes a lot of sacrifice, and also the ability of our staff to anticipate what the problems are going to be. I think we were able to identify back in June which players weren't going to be able to mesh well together, and so we instantly get out ahead of that problem and let them know the problems we anticipate, and so they're aware of them, and we try to get those guys on the same page because in teams now, their personalities could cause it to combust, and you see it all the time in college basketball. So our guys, they, just a special group. I doubt that I'll ever have a team that's that close of a group. They would spend time off the court. They would go fishing, and one of them would make a fish fry and fish tacos for his teammates, and they do movies and play ping pong and just go back to like how we were when we were kids. And so they were a joy to be around. Our team meals would finish with those guys playing Catan and spades and everything else. So just, like I said, I spent the year appreciating those guys because I know how difficult it is for a group like that to come together and do what they did.
Was it one of those teams where, and obviously, you have a great star like Yaxel, but he goes out as a perfect example of that. If so-and-so on your team doesn't do X, you don't win the championship. Did everybody have to play a certain role to get you to where you needed to be?
Not necessarily. We're probably a unique group where Yax had a very down game, and we were still able to win a national championship without him. And even the Arizona game, he spent much of that in the locker room, getting treatment and whatnot. So it was just a team that everyone was capable of doing so much more than they did. And that's what made it so rewarding, is that they all could have at any time tried to rise above the group, and they never did. They continued to give, to serve, and to show love publicly and privately. You see a lot of fake love publicly when teammates maybe applauding one, in a certain award or whatever the case. These guys they showed more love in private than they did in public, and so that became contagious.
I asked Coach about his phone. I'm sure yours has been buzzing as well. I just appreciate the fact that both of you, let alone any coach at this time, is doing this during we are in the portal at the moment. I mean, it's a crazy time.
We are. It's an honor to be here with you guys tonight. I think back to so many people that gave to this game to allow all of us to be here. And so when Matt presented me the opportunity, I did everything in my power to make it happen. And now I'm headed to LA first thing in the morning. So at least I cut my trip in shorter than it would be otherwise.
It's great to have you here. And then finally, maybe you could return the favor to Coach Schertz. I know the two of you go way, way back and are dear friends.
Yeah, how lucky are you guys to have one of the greatest teachers, coaches in our sport right down the road coaching a basketball team that has so much connection to a city. Being a relatively young coach, I remember when Larry Hughes signed with St. Louis and how big of a deal it was in the Street and Smith magazines and all that. That's how we got our news back then. And then for Coach Majerus to take the program, and now for Coach Schertz and his group to elevate it even more is incredibly impressive. Like I said, he could be coaching anywhere in the country right now, and he chose to stay here in St. Louis and represent all of you. But like I said, how lucky are you?
It's great to have you here, Coach. Thank you so much. The Henry Iba Coach of the Year, Dusty May.
Thank you, Tom.
Folks, a big shout out. Let's hear it for Jim Wilson. What a wonderful job he does at the MAC in putting these together. Thank you to the media for covering our event. Thank you to the USBWA, and thank you for being here tonight. We'll see you next year at the College Basketball Awards.
Welcome to the Magistry of March. Dreams come true in March.
We are set to make some new March memories. Time to dance.
There's nothing like March Madness.
I cannot wait to get this thing started.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star in all the years. No one knows just how hard you worked, but now it shows. It's a Cinderella story. One shining moment, it's all on the line. In one shining moment, they're frozen in time. Time is short, and the road is long. In the blinking of an eye, that moment's gone. And when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best. 'Cause inside you